Hey guys, we are here today in Valheim to take a look at this large building with an exterior deck that you can use for a multi-purpose building, use it for beehives, making and storing meads, complete with a second story cauldron and fireplace, and plenty of room for portals and anything else you might need. Now before we get into this building, you may have seen some of my previous videos like the log cabin or the super efficient workshop and notice that they're all square or rectangle. And this is because I do not have a gift for architecture. Rather than cool and intricate looking buildings, I'm aiming for high efficiency for your crafting. I'm going to put those previous videos and this one into a new playlist, and I am now deeming this the first official episode of Building for Squares. First thing we're going to do to start this one is select the center back of our building and place a board, and we're going to go 5 by 5, and we're going to leave the centerpiece bare in order for us to place a smelter. And you want to try to get it roughly centered out in that spot wherever it will let you. And then we are going to wall in the exterior 2 walls high. And you will see here that I went with a gate instead of a standard door, so I'll put a half piece above that as opposed to a full piece. And if you have stone cutting unlocked and decide to do the foundation of this in stone, then you won't need the smelter here, and instead you will just use some stone pillars here to move up the 2 levels to the top. Now the next thing we're going to do is remove 2 floor pieces right next to the smelter, and the reason we're going to do this is in order to have a cauldron in this building you need a forge, which requires a workbench. Now, this is not my main forge and workbench area, so I don't want one visible. If you don't mind that, you can place them anywhere in the building. But if you want them hidden like me, you're going to remove 2 floor pieces here and dig down next to the smelter until you have a somewhat flat area that's deep enough to hold your workbench. And you're going to have to like widen it out a little bit, potentially. So you can just work on that and open it up on the sides. Careful not to hit your floor. And stick a workbench under the floor, and then go ahead and place the floor tiles back in their spot. And you can see, since they're touching the smelter, they are full foundation pieces even though there's nothing under them. And then we'll do the exact same thing on the other side for the forge. And once your forge is in place, go ahead and close that up as well. And then we're going to move up to the staircase. I put my staircase right when I come in the door to the right. You're going to leave 1 square in front of it to be able to step up to the stairs. And then go ahead and just move the staircase up. And then right when you get to the corner, place 1 floor piece and finish the stair turn. Once we get up to the top level here, go ahead and floor the entire thing except the space over the smelter. And I just remembered as we got up here that you have the staircase here, so you can't actually floor the whole thing. What you'll do is go 2 spaces from the side and just stop right there above the stairs. And then you can floor everything around the stairs like that. Now above the smelter, you can either do 1 by 1 tiles to cover up some of the larger gaps. Or like mine, if your smelter is poking through just a bit, like that right there, you can place the floor tile without any problems and have the smelter stick right through the floor. Now the reason it's important to have a little bit of access to the smelter is this is actually how we are going to place a campfire, because it's a stone ground, on the 2nd level and allow us to put the cauldron upstairs. This will also work to do a 2nd story fireplace anywhere else or in any other house you want to do, as long as you don't mind the look of that smelter in the basement. Now once we have the campfire location picked out, we are going to add floor pieces on the exterior of the building, even with the top of our 1st floor, and those are going to come out 2 tiles. So whenever you get to the corner, you'll see as we attach 2 tiles that they come out pretty far, and they're going to be quite weak. Now we will add some struts to this and stability to it, but for now you can just go around the entire thing and get 2 tiles out across the whole exterior. Alright, now once we've got that layer extending off of the edge of the entire wall, we're going to add some beams to it, and for this we're going to start at the very back left corner of the building And for all of these, you can use the log poles at 4 meter long and make it even stronger overall, but we're going to do it with wood beams, so you can see how to do it very early on in the game. We'll go in the very corner of it and attach a wood beam, and if it hits ground like mine does here, that's great, that's foundation. If not, you can continue on. And then go 2 spaces from that and connect them again. And make sure that they get blue on the bottom section and become an actual foundation. And if you have one here like this that doesn't quite reach the ground, you can see the stability in it is very much lacking. And if we try to place a little piece under it, we can't really get it to snap in. So we're going to use a little trick that I saw Firespark do, where you place a beam behind it, and then when you go over here, you just aim at that beam, and it puts it and snaps it right under to where it'll touch the ground. And then you can delete that secondary beam in the back. And now we have decent stability across the whole thing. And then once we get near the front of the building here, you'll see we don't directly line up at the corner, and that's fine. We're going to do the 2 spaces, counting the corner and then going over one, and leaving the corner bare for the front side of the building here. And you'll see here on the front of the building, if we go our every 2 spaces, it puts a beam almost directly in front of the door. So what we're going to do on the front side is we went 2 spaces over starting from left. Now we're going to go and start from the right where we know one's going to go, and go 2 spaces from that, and then it won't line up correctly on 2 spaces from either side, and we're just going to leave that blank and leave a 1 row extra gap in front of the door to create a wider walking space. The right side is going to be identical to the left side, where we start at the back corner and go 2 spaces from that, and it'll line directly up with the front right. And the back will be just like the front, where it's not going to line up correctly. So start at each side and go down 2 spaces from the sides. And you can either leave the extra gap like we did on the front, or you can just double stack right next to each other like that when you get to the middle. So now that we're upstairs and we have our extended deck around and it's all in good quality from the beams, we're going to go ahead and wall in the interior part. You can kind of use your stairs as a guide, that we're doing a 1.5 high wall around the entire interior, and your door to the exterior deck is going to be right next to the stairs here on your full tile. So go ahead and go around the entire interior part and lay out your 1.5 high wall. And do keep in mind here on this door spot is, instead of a door and a 1.5 piece, you can put a gate which equals the same height as that if you prefer to have a bigger opening. Now after this, we are going to start working on the roofing of this interior section, and I don't want to die from smoke inhalation on the chimney part, so we are going to delete the campfire here and use 45-degree roofing to go ahead and lay a exterior layer to this entire section. Now what I personally like to do for these really tall buildings, but where I want a whole lot of walking space still, is I like to go to 45-degree roofing and then switch it to 26-degree roofing. And I feel like it looks pretty good from the outside and gives it a nice slope so that it's not ridiculously tall, but still has a ton of room to place stuff in. And you'll see here that we are weak across pretty much the whole roof. So after we get that 26-degree row done, we're going to go at the 4 corners of it and place a pole on each one, coming all the way down around where our campfire will go. And that'll help strengthen most of the roof. And again, this is all with the basic wood pieces. If you're using the log poles or any stone pieces, this will be incredibly strong up at the top. Now to finish the chimney off, you're probably going to need to get a little stair here and be able to climb up on the top. And this is going to be a little bit of choice. You can use half wood beams like this across it, or if you're really worried about smoke and don't care about the height, you can place full beams along the whole way. And you're going to place a beam extension on top of your 4 beams from the inside, and then you're going to place horizontal wood beams on the 2 sides. Now when I'm counting the sides of this top is wherever your door's at. My door is on this side right here, so I went on the 2 sides from there and leave the front and back blank. Then you're going to place 26-degree wood crosses across the front and the back, and place a 45-degree peak piece along those crosses, and that is the top of your chimney. So with the chimney done, we can place our campfire back down and the smoke will dissipate pretty good through that chimney with the height of this room. And then you can go ahead and wall in your staircase so you don't accidentally fall off it while you're upstairs here. And you're just going to go however high you need to match up with the roof along the entire thing. So right here on the edge here, you can see that's too tall, so we're going to use a half piece and then a 45-degree angle piece. And then on the front, we should be able to just line directly up with the full pieces and then one half piece at the top. And the little interior part is all done. You can throw a cauldron above that campfire on the second floor. And since we have a forge buried under the ground, you will be able to place that campfire with that cauldron without any issues. And you can decorate in here with some stools, a bed if you even wanted to, and make this a livable place. And slap some chests in here. Now we're going to move to the exterior deck. And the first thing we're going to do is you can see all of our poles on the outside edge here. We're going to place another full-length beam and a half beam across all of those to match up with the height of our interior part here. So go across the entire exterior and finish off all your beams with 1.5 more high. Alright, and after all the beams are placed, we're going to do the same thing I do on pretty much every other building and run horizontal beams along the entire top of those beams, creating an outline for our roof. To complete the roof on this section, we are just going to take 26-degree thatch pieces and connect across, giving ourselves like a little alleyway here. And then obviously at the corners of the exterior, you'll use the corner pieces. And to connect the inside corners to those, you'll use the interior corner pieces off the corner of the building, and they'll all connect perfectly. And the last thing to do is to get some proper child safety features and line the entire exterior of the deck with half walls or full walls if you don't want it exposed, but I like the deck feeling as opposed to just another section of the building. And if you are wanting to cover up your chimney look downstairs and not have it exposed, if you replace the 8 floor spots around the campfire upstairs, and you can do this after you've already built everything, but replace them with all 1x1 squares like this, then downstairs it will give you a grid that will allow you to snap wall pieces like this, just wider than the smelter, and then be able to go all the way to the floor and hide that smelter so it doesn't look quite as bad downstairs. And there you have it, a fairly large building for your portals, fermenting, cauldron work, all types of food. You can slap beehives around it and have an entire exposed exterior area under the deck here to place whatever you'd like, and kind of use it as an all-purpose building. You can even set a bed up in the room with the cauldron and make it to where it's an all-in-one house if you want it, and clearly it has enough room even on the outside for a workbench and a forge if you just want to build this building for your whole base, with a functioning second-story chimney, at least until they patch something and get rid of my new idea on how to get a second-story chimney.